Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back. Today I'm going to give you my takeaways from the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I know, the name of the book does not sound great, and for this very reason, I postponed reading this book for quite some time. But lesson learned, do not judge a book by its cover or title, and this is literally the first takeaway from the book. Trust me, this book is amazing with thoughtful examples for every pointer. Being someone who is not very friendly by nature and not at all influential, I have always found it difficult to communicate in the right way with other people. I find this book very helpful. It not only helps me improve my communication skills, but it helps me understand people better. So it not only helps with my work, but it also helps with my personal relationships too. I am definitely going to give a read to this book once again very soon. And yeah, if you do like such content and you don't want to miss any of my videos, then definitely do hit the subscribe button right away if you haven't as yet. And yes, your subscribe would be influential. Another fact is that this book was published in the year 1936, and since then there have been over 200 million copies sold worldwide. It is one of the greatest bestsellers of all time. Let me know in the comment section below which is your favorite point, and let's begin. Always try to remember names. Take the effort to remember names and details of people. Dealing with people is an art. I realized this a few years ago while listening to another YouTuber. That's actually where I learned this from. And yeah, whenever somebody remembers my name, I feel very happy about it, and I also feel important to that person. So wouldn't they feel the same way? Yes, they would. So ever since I've had this great realization, I try to remember and mention names in my conversations. I am happy that it helps with my memory, and they are happy because they feel important. The deepest urge in human nature is a desire to be important. Dr. John Dewey. Seeing this point in the book, I was glad to know that I am doing the right thing. Dale Carnegie states, one of the most simplest, most obvious, and most important ways of gaining goodwill is to remember names and making people feel important. How many of us do it?
Begin friendly with a smile.
A heartwarming, genuine smile can do wonders. A line from the book. The expression that one wears on one's face is far more important than the clothes one wears on one's back. For example, have you noticed how babies and children are easily attracted to joyful people? With a frown on your face, I doubt that's even possible unless the kid sees through your heart. Maybe give it a try. Praise first, criticize later. Criticizing only leads to the other party trying to defend and justify themselves. A very nice line from the book is, when dealing with people, always remember we are not dealing with creatures of logic, we are dealing with creatures of emotion motivated by pride and vanity. We got to try to figure out why they do what they do, and that's only possible by imagining ourselves in their shoes. It helps us become more sympathetic, tolerant, and kind. Being born in an Indian family, I know it's hard. It's in our DNA. Parents are often tempted to criticize their children, often expecting way too much from them. Criticism can kill ambitions. But does that mean that we should never criticize? No, that's not the case. What is the right way then? How to criticize someone and not be hated for it? Why don't we use the same common sense to change people that we use to change dogs? The best way to bring the best in someone is by using encouragement and appreciation. It's always easier to listen or hear something unpleasant after we've heard some good points about us. Think about it. Since I am a chess trainer, I teach chess to kids and adults. I've started using this method of praising first and criticizing later. So what I basically do is, before telling them where they went wrong, I tell them what all they did right in their game. Suppose they have played a game and I'm analyzing it. So before I tell them what they did wrong and their mistakes, I tell them what they did right. And after that, the kids take the appreciation and the criticism way better after having heard their appreciation. And it goes the same with adults too. Had a lot of experience in this field. Another helpful tip is to replace but with and. A but after a praise may sound discouraging, and that can be easily changed. For example, I'd say, you played a very beautiful game, Johnny, and I'm very proud of you for winning the second rank in the tournament. And if you continue putting the same efforts, I'm sure next time you will win the first place. You will become the champion.
Give the other person a good reputation to live up to.
Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to, and they will try their best to not disappoint you. If you show respect to some of their ability, you will definitely get a positive response. Another example from my own life is when coaching students and telling them where they got to improve, I tell them that they can do it and I believe in them. I try to appreciate every little win and improvement. And I try to make the fault seem easy to correct. This way, it gives them hope and a wanting to improve. If you want other people to improve, use encouragement. Show genuine interest in other people. I think this point is very important, and without being genuinely interested in the other person, you would not be able to maintain the good relations for too long. In the self-centered world, I know it's not easy. But when you show genuine interest in the other person, it improves your connection with that person. And I also believe that it makes us better listeners and better human beings. Some more lines from the book which actually explain this very well are, a person's toothache means more to that person than a famine in China. A boil on one's neck interests one more than 40 earthquakes in Africa. Dale Carnegie clearly states that the principles in this book will work only when it comes genuinely from your heart. Admit, talk about your own mistakes. Before criticizing the other person, talk about your own mistakes. So during my chess coaching sessions, I got to tell my students where they go wrong and how they're supposed to improve. So what I basically do is, I tell them about similar situations where I went wrong and made similar mistakes. That way they understand that I have been in their shoes, and they tend to pay more attention when it comes to the part of their mistakes and where they can improve. I actually learned this from my brother, but don't worry, this is also mentioned in this book. My brother, he would always tell students about his mistakes, his stories, and they would always remain enthusiastic and interested, throughout the class. I'm not a fun person, but I try my bit. Another addition is, if you're wrong, admit it. The chances are always higher for the other person to have a forgiving attitude towards you this way. After all, truth is the strongest argument, isn't it? It's always easier to self-criticize than to listen to the same criticism from somebody else.
Understand the other person's point of view.
The only way on earth on how to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. If you want your children to smoke, don't preach at them. And don't talk about what you want, but show them that cigarettes may keep them away from making into the basketball team or winning the 100-meter sprint. This is just an example and the exact words from the book. It's a good thing to remember with whoever you're dealing with. I think this quality is something most of us lack and got to improve on. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Instead of giving direct orders, such suggestive statements work better. For example, you might consider this. What about this? Maybe if we change this to this, maybe this could be better. What do you think about this? Always give the other person the opportunity to do things themselves. A technique like this gives a higher chance for them to correct their errors, and it does not take away their pride, and it gives them enough importance. Again, I try following this during my chess coaching sessions too. I make the other person happy about what I suggest. I make my students do what I want them to do by making them realize that that is what they got to do and that is what they want to do. Avoid arguments. Do you think that it's even possible? There's a very beautiful story in the book which will help us improve our actions on this very topic. Opera tenor Jean Pierce, after being married for 50 years, said, "My wife and I made a pact long time ago and we have kept it. No matter how angry we get at each other, when one yells, the other should listen, because when two people yell, there is no communication, just noise and bad vibrations." I am trying my best to implement this very thing. These are my takeaways from the book. If you did like it, you should definitely give it a read. I will put the link to the book in the video description so it can save your time. And yeah, I should tell you that the audio version of the book is wonderful too, because it has a lot of educational and wonderful stories. So it's very nice listening to, and I did listen to it and I loved it. It's available on Audible. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.